doing this Ecotec swap and you are not going to get everything in the kit, you're going to need a few parts. Throttle body, tensioner pulley, alternator possibly, alternator bolts. Don't just throw the bolts on the ground. You can reuse the bolts for everything, the throttle body and the alternator. So don't throw that stuff away. Keep it, inventory it, put it in a bag. What else you're gonna need is a junkyard with a GM section, okay? You're gonna ask the person at the counter for a sheet, and it will tell you right there what row the car is in, and they usually write it, you can see it there on the back of the car. So that's row 50, this is 51. Then we're looking for a blue Cobalt 2008, and they'll give you a whole list of all the cars with each row, where they're at, what color the car is that has the parts you need. In my situation, it's a 2008 Ecotec 2.2. You're going to need a kit. I like this one from Walmart. Excellent kit. I recommend a long bar, a long extension, and some long sockets. But you're mainly going to need a number 10, a number 8, and a number 13. All right, so let's get shopping. Haha. Once you find your row, see it says row 52. I'm looking for a silver or a black Cobalt 2008 or 7. Apparently they both have the same parts. My engine is an 08, so I'm going to seek out the 08 first. So I find row 52 because it says it's in row 52. Then you can start reading these tags on the back of the cars. And this is a Buick, so we don't want this one. Saturn. I thought it said Saturn, I don't know. Chevy Malibu. Chevy Cobalt, that's a black one, so I'm gonna guess that's our 07. Sure enough, it is. Impala. Here we go, 2008 Chevy Cobalt. So now we just walk up front and hope that it has what we want. Yep, I see a tensioner. I do not see a throttle body. I'm totally bummed on that one. But I do have my alternator bolts. And back here, I do have my heat sensor down in there. So I'm gonna grab those off this car, and then we'll run back and see if the black car has a throttle body. So this is our throttle body. The big difference is the bolts are not the square ones. They are this pattern, where this one's higher up and a bit inside compared to the others are basically in a square. So this is our buddy. We're going to take him. We're going to take some other stuff. This will be quick because somebody's already taken. Oh, I got to go back there because the alternator's not here, so I need the bolts off that. So I'm going to use both cars. So here we go. Okay, so we've pulled the radiator, and you can either use that for your dune buggy or you don't have to, but it is got a nice radiator, a shroud, and all that. Now, what does it take to cool a 2.2 Ecotec engine? This is non-turbocharged, but it does have air conditioning on it. And so, as you can see, the AC is here, but this radiator uses a single core, a 1/4 inch tube, running side to side. It's a 14-inch tall by 19-inch wide, and that gives you a total of 266 square inches of surface cooling. Now, the radiator I'm putting on my buggy is from the Jeep Cherokee, and it gives me 341 square inches. So I have more than enough, plus I have 3 rows of 3/8 tube. So I have got way more cooling than is required for this Ecotec. Okay, so while we're getting things off this, I got my throttle body. Underneath it is this little silicone gasket, which is gonna last for years and years of silicone. So I would go ahead and just grab that with your fingernails and pull it out of that. Just keep it just in case. Keep your throttle body, take your plug with you, put that in your toolbox. Now this radiator does not have a filler cap. One of the things you're going to want to do is figure out how you're going to fill the system if you're going to use this type of radiator, or just whatever. You could do an inline fill neck, but it's actually pretty tough because the hoses don't sit as high as the rest. So I would recommend right here is where your overflow bottle actually connects in, goes across, comes over, goes to here. So you may want to consider taking this with you so you can fill your radiator and just connect it like it was originally. So that is another option. Okay, so in the back of the engine, you're going to have your heater hoses exiting and your lower radiator hose connection. And right down in there, between the heater hoses, you're going to find your temperature sensor. You're going to need that, and that is a 3/4 inch long socket, because you got to get over this piece. What you're going to want to do is get the tensioner, and you're going to have to take the plastic out of the fender. I just cut with my knife. If you need to, just cut a hole in it right about there, and just go through this side slot, and you'll see the bolt for the tensioner in there. Now you're going to want to make sure that your tensioner's got a flat pulley, because it rides on the back of the belt. If it has serpentine teeth, it's not the right one. So we're just going to put it on. This is I think a 17, but I had a 5/8 and I didn't have a 17, and a 5/8 fits it perfect. So we'll just pull it off with a 5/8 and we'll call it a day. Make sure you keep the bolt. Keep all your bolts. Don't get rid of any of them. Okay, so here's what we got from the junkyard recycling center. You do not need this, but I bought an extra coil pack just in case I'm out on the trail and one fails. You do need the rest of this. A temperature sensor so your computer can check temperature of the motor. You need a 19 or a 3/4 deep to get that out. You need a tensioner pulley. Make sure that it's got a good pulley on it, that it doesn't have any play in it, and that it's smooth, because it rides on the back. You do not want the one with the serpentine teeth. That takes a 5/8 or a 15 to get it out. Make sure you keep the bolt. You need your throttle body. Make sure that it matches your bolt holes. Okay, mine goes to the tall one. Some engines use that one. But if you just go and pull one off, you might come home and find that you don't have the tall one, and then you're stuck. Make sure that you get your bolts, and keep the rubber piece that's on the bolt, because that's how it seals in the holes. That requires a 10 millimeter, can be short or deep. I recommend you grab this little Teflon gasket, just so you have an extra. Then I went to AutoZone, didn't get this junkyard, but I picked up a new serpentine belt. That would be the number if you need it. The alternator, you're going to want to make sure that it has the right plug for your wiring harness. So take a photo of your wiring harness plug before you go to the junkyard. When you do get to the junkyard, check it, see if it's got a bunch of end play. If it's tight, you're good. Spin it. If it spins nice, you're good. This one definitely spins nice. There you go. I didn't know Chevy made them with that on there. That's weird. So anyway, you're going to want to check the wires to make sure that they don't look overheated or burnt. They're not blued or black. If they have good color, it should be in perfect shape. Make sure you get the bolts to mount it. Now, all this stuff should be in excellent working order, because the car was running when they crashed. So I try to find cars that don't have heavy front end damage. I try to look for ones that have side damage, rear damage, maybe a front wheel got clipped. But if it gets smashed right in the front, you're gonna wanna be careful to check all this stuff. And for all of that, I paid $61.50.